For decades, some of the most chilling crimes have baffled detectives and haunted families. Cases left cold, sitting unsolved in police files, seem destined to remain mysteries forever. But thanks to advancements in technology, determination from law enforcement, and sometimes sheer luck, these seemingly unsolvable cases were cracked wide open years, even decades, later. Today, we're delving into the fascinating stories of cold cases that were finally solved, bringing long-awaited justice to victims and their families. Let's uncover the mysteries that were hidden in the shadows for far too long. First up, one of the most infamous cold cases in American history, the Golden State Killer. For over 40 years, a serial predator terrorized California, committing more than 50 rapes and at least 13 murders during the 1970s and 1980s. Despite leaving behind a trail of fear and destruction, the killer always managed to elude capture. The investigation into the Golden State Killer was one of the most exhaustive and frustrating in the history of law enforcement. The crime spanned a wide geographic area, with the perpetrator targeting suburban neighborhoods, often breaking into homes in the dead of night. Victims ranged from young women to couples, with the killer's brutality leaving an indelible mark on their communities. Despite countless leads, sketches, and witness accounts, the case went cold for decades. Enter the revolutionary world of DNA genealogy. In 2018, investigators uploaded DNA evidence from the crime scenes to a public genealogy database. This breakthrough allowed them to trace distant relatives of the suspect, leading them to Joseph James DeAngelo, a former police officer who had been living an unassuming life in the suburbs. DeAngelo's arrest not only shocked his neighbors, but also provided long-awaited answers to the families who had suffered for decades. The evidence against him was overwhelming, with DNA matches tying him directly to multiple crime scenes. In 2020, DeAngelo pleaded guilty to his crimes, admitting to a chilling spree of violence that had terrorized an entire generation. His sentencing brought closure to the victims and their families, who had waited more than 40 years for justice. For over 60 years, the identity of a little boy found in a cardboard box in Philadelphia remained a heartbreaking mystery. Known only as the boy in the box, this case tore at the hearts of investigators and the public alike. In February 1957, a young boy's battered body was discovered wrapped in a blanket and placed inside a cardboard box. The child was estimated to be between 3 and 7 years old, and his cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma. Despite the extensive media coverage and numerous theories, his identity and the circumstances of his death remained unknown. Over the years, investigators followed countless leads, including theories that the boy was a victim of child trafficking or that he had been abandoned by a foster family. Artists created age-progressed sketches, and his case was featured on numerous crime shows, but nothing brought them closer to solving the mystery. Then, in 2022, advancements in forensic genealogy provided the breakthrough investigators had been waiting for. DNA samples taken from the boy's remains were compared with genetic profiles in public databases, leading to the identification of Joseph Augustus Zarelli. The discovery of Joseph's identity brought a bittersweet resolution to the case. While the boy's name could finally be honored, questions remain about the circumstances of his death. Authorities continue to investigate his family and background, but the unveiling of his identity marked a significant step in bringing closure to one of America's most haunting mysteries. Sometimes, solving cold cases reveals a chilling web of crimes beyond what anyone suspected. In Cleveland, Ohio, the disappearance of women in a troubled neighborhood went largely unnoticed for years. Many of the victims were vulnerable, struggling with addiction or homelessness, which made it easier for their disappearances to slip under the radar. But in 2009, a horrifying discovery brought the case into the national spotlight. Police visited the home of Anthony Sowell, a former Marine, to investigate a rape allegation. What they found inside shocked the nation. The remains of 11 women were discovered on his property, including in shallow graves in the backyard. The victims had all been strangled, and the conditions in Sowell's home were described as horrific, with the smell of decay permeating the neighborhood for years. As investigators dug deeper, they realized that many of the women had been reported missing over a decade, but their cases had gone cold due to lack of evidence and limited resources. Sowell's arrest not only exposed his crimes, but also highlighted systemic issues in how law enforcement handles cases involving marginalized populations. Sowell was convicted of 11 counts of murder and sentenced to death, bringing some closure to the victims' families. However, his case remains a stark reminder of the importance of advocating for every missing person, regardless of their background. Sometimes, solving a cold case reveals connections to pop culture we never expected. Hazel Drew's 1908 murder in upstate New York inspired the creators of the cult TV show Twin Peaks. Drew, a beautiful young woman known for her charm and independence, was found dead under mysterious circumstances near Teal's Pond. Her body was discovered floating in the water days after she was last seen walking alone on a country road. The investigation into Hazel's death was plagued by speculation and rumors. Some believed she was involved with powerful men, while others pointed to a secret lover. The case remained unsolved for over a century, but modern historians and amateur sleuths have worked tirelessly to piece together her story. Using archival records, interviews with descendants, and forensic analysis, they've uncovered details about Hazel's life that suggest she may have been the victim of a jealous rage or a scandalous affair. While no official arrest has been made, these revelations have reignited interest in her case, ensuring Hazel Drew's story will not be forgotten. In 1996, the brutal murder of 18-year-old Angie Dodge in Idaho Falls devastated her family and sent shockwaves through the community. Angie, a bright and ambitious young woman, was found dead in her apartment after being sexually assaulted and stabbed. The investigation quickly led to the arrest of Christopher Tapp, who confessed to the crime after hours of intense interrogation. However, Tapp's confession was riddled with inconsistencies, and no physical evidence tied him to the scene. Angie's mother, Carol Dodge, became a relentless advocate for her daughter and for justice. She believed that Tapp was innocent and pushed for further investigation. Her determination paid off when new DNA technology revealed that the DNA found at the crime scene did not match Tapp. Instead, it pointed to another suspect, Brian Dripps, a former neighbor of Angie's. In 2019, Dripps was arrested and confessed to the crime, admitting that he had acted alone. For Angie's family, the resolution of the case was bittersweet. While they were grateful that justice had finally been served, they also mourned the years lost to a flawed investigation. Tapp was exonerated, and Dripps's conviction brought an end to a decades-long fight for the truth. These stories remind us of the resilience of investigators, the power of technology, and the determination of families who refuse to give up hope. Cold cases may go unsolved for years, but as history shows, justice has a way of catching up. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Or do you know of any other cold cases that have been solved in recent years? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join us on more journeys into the fascinating world of true crime. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.